And we are back on Open Line. I'm Chuck Long here with attorney Kevin Kennedy. He is the expert in the legal field. They've been in business over 35 years, the Kennedy Law Firm. A lot of you call in when we have this Ask an Expert legal night, and there's a good reason. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Wow.
And you've got such a broad knowledge. Like I say, I always learn so much when you're here. There's so much to learn. There's so much to glean in the legal profession.
You know when we were on the break, you and I were talking about the law, and I like to share this with the public too. You know, all these old sayings, they are old sayings. They've been around for hundreds of years for a reason. There's wisdom in that, and when you apply common knowledge, everyday living, and wisdom to the law, you can kind of see which way it's going. And Chuck and I, you know, it was Benjamin Franklin said, a bird in the hand is worth what?
Two in the bush.
Two in the bush. That's still true in the law business too. So I like sharing that.
I tell you, and there's a reason those sayings have lasted.
It is.
There's a lot of wisdom, and there really is.
And in the clinch moments, many times we're under the gun in the courtroom, and the judge is calling down on you, right? What about your client? And I'm looking to Chuck, in or out? What are you going to call, Chuck? Because the judge is on us. And then those old sayings come and help us in a critical moment. That's why they train. In a critical moment, your training will pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you have a question, make sure you do get online with us, 737-7587. That's the number to call. If you have a problem, if there is something that you feel that you've been wronged some way, call now. We'll give you that advice. Kevin is just great at that. We're going to our lines right now. Lewis is on the line with us. Lewis, good evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin? Can you hear us, Lewis?
Sir?
All right, you there, Lewis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your question?
My question is, if an attorney, come on, Shallow, if an attorney, oh, let me do it like this.
Okay.
Who am I speaking with?
This is Kevin Kennedy and Chuck. Hello, Lewis.
Okay, put it back on the radio on the station. Okay, this is the question.
All right.
Due to the significance that's in the courtroom, right? My case got knowledge, civil and criminal. It was a two-part. It was a three-part case. It was the warrant, the tracking number, and the general session number. My attorney did the case pro bono, but they sent my case to a collecting agency that caused me to lose my driver license due to a financial fee that the attorney voided the contract. I'm trying to see if the attorney, now the district attorney, Mrs. Willis, voided the contract, how's I'm being held accountable for a contract that was voided 9 years ago?
And, you know, you make a great point. That's where your documentation comes back. If you could have a copy where it was voided, then you've got something you could send to the state. If the state is holding your driver's license because of a civil bill, then that's a new thing that you can pursue and try to get your driver's license back. So again, what's the name of the word to the wise? Get copies, even when you file those. And let me say this, when you expunge your case, many times you don't have any documentation whatsoever. And they ask me this all the time because law schools say, have you ever been in any trouble? I've been interviewed by the Secret Service, Congressional, all kinds of FBI. Well, guess what? They didn't say, have you ever had a charge, convicted, dismissed, expunged? Have you ever been arrested? It's a little different. Most applications will say, have you ever been convicted? But the most sophisticated background investigation wants to know, have you ever been charged? Have you ever been arrested? You have to tell the truth. If you don't, that's deceptive. They will turn you down.
Good advice. Absolutely. All right, Lewis, we do appreciate that question.
Thank you, Lewis.
All right, we're going back to the lines right now. Coco is on the line with us. Coco, thanks for your patience. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Hello, how are you doing today?
Great.
I kind of have a question. A couple years ago, I was attending TSU, and my dorm director was having different types of situationships with a couple people in my dorm room. Well, either way, he had gotten involved with somebody, and somebody basically did something to their door, you know, school property, all that type of stuff. Anyways, I was, because of a situation with the dorm director, I was put out unlawfully. they launched an investigation on him, and they found out everything that I was saying was true.
Yes.
So they went ahead and they let him go. However, because I brought charges upon him, they kept me out of school the duration of the investigation, which was half a semester. I was sick the first part of the semester, and I have doctor's excuse and all that on file.
Right.
However, the end of the semester, that's when they launched the investigation. They told me not to go to school. Once they came back with the investigation, they said everything was good. I can go back to school. However, it was the last day of finals that this happened. They told me that because of the situation with him, I kind of ruffled some feathers within the offices.
Yes.
So they launched the investigation on me. They claimed that they came in my room and found drugs. That was my question. I apologize. They came in my room and claimed they found drugs. However, I have video footage of them coming in my room, not finding anything, and leaving my room. And because I had forgot that my computer was recording the whole duration, it goes on to go 5 hours. So you can clearly see that they don't have anything in my room.
Yes.
I haven't, everything like that. When they came back and they served me with an eviction notice, they gave me 12 hours to get off the school premises. They told me, that they had found drugs in my room and I was being disorderly. When I asked them for a police report, they told me they could not furnish me one.
Yes.
And so when they finally gave me one, it was 12 hours written ahead of when they came in my room. They never let me talk to the president, and they put me out because of that. So because of that situation, I've no longer been able to start school because I have all these charges, from me not finishing out my scholarships, my 4-year plan.
Yes.
Also, it's messed up my credit score, and I was wondering if there's anything that I could do in order to fight that. The statute of limitations, perhaps, on that situation.
How long has it been?
Well, this happened at the end of 2013.
Wow. It's a lot of gray areas. As a general rule, that would be a contract. That would be 6-year statute of limitations. Even though you may have a 6-year, the longer that it goes, the personalities have changed. These people have been fired. They move away. How can you prove your cause? So you'd have to look at the specific dates. You could still perhaps bring a suit against them for wrongful eviction and then say what your damages is. Of course, they're going to maintain it's speculative, that you couldn't get into another university and you couldn't have reapplied. And so those are some legal issues, but I still think you could pursue that.
Well, that's good to know. And again, it sounds like one of the things that was great that Coco did was she documented things.
Wait a minute. Did she say her computer was on and recording?
Yes, she did.
And we just said a little earlier, the camera is always on, the microphone is always on. So conduct yourself as if you're being recorded.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good advice. All right, we're going back to the lines right now. So Tony is on the line with us. Tony, good evening. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin? Can you hear us, Tony?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go right ahead.
I just had a question. A friend of mine in Western Kentucky up there around Benton, he was sitting in the middle of a car. They pulled him over, and, in the middle on the front seat of a car.
All right.
There is no shoulder straps.
That's right.
And the policeman up there pulled him out of there and messed his rotator cuff up. He's still going to the doctor. This has been over a year ago. And he's still going to the doctor about it. And the judge and all said that if he tried to sue him, that they was going to give him 5 years in prison. And what my question was, I'm making it long, but I'm sorry, but my question was, if an out-of-state lawyer, is there any lawyers in Tennessee that are legally allowed to work in Kentucky? Because,
and let me address that. Every state has their own bar association. So you have to pass the bar for Tennessee. You'd have to pass the bar for Kentucky. If a lawyer's practiced as much as 5 years, they can ask to waive that and be admitted into that state. So they're all very tight because they want to regulate their individual states on who can practice law, and the reason behind that's to protect the public, because Kentucky statutes are different from Tennessee. Now, he brought up an interesting point. Well, who's going to say if you try to do this? Many times I use that. It's called what? A covenant not to sue. And police may have made a misunderstanding and they won't let my man off. And then I use, because I'm skilled in this, I'd say, if you'll dismiss this case against Chuck, we'll sign a covenant not to sue, and let's all go home. And this has been a bad situation, because my number one goal is to protect Chuck, protect his reputation, and not let this go on any further. So we have some legal maneuvers. On the other hand, you know, some people say, if you don't sign that because you're going to turn around and sue us, then we'll just prosecute you. And so we don't know the full details of, can they pull you over because you don't have the strap? Yes. Can they search the vehicle when you're doing an arrest like that? Yes, whatever's in plain view. And then they might ask you, say, Chuck, can we search your car? If you give them permission, then it's fair game. And so that's a judgment call. Will they go bring the drug dogs in and smell? If they find drugs, can it be real bad? Yes. If there's 3 in the car and there's drugs in the car, how many are the police going to charge? 3. If there's 4 at the Walmart stealing and 1 gets caught, how many will they charge? 4. And so if 4 or 5 people are involved in a fight, who gets charged? They'll charge them all, and then let the judge and the DA and the defense lawyers try to negotiate their way. And I'm going to tell you right now, Chuck didn't do it.
There you go. I appreciate that. All right. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about self-incrimination. When we come back, we do need to take a short break. We appreciate everyone on the line. Stay right there. Open Line continues.